funny. You know, I mean, it's odd because I do this for a living to a certain extent, but I don't do this, and I get so nervous. And you know, first of all, it's a real privilege to be here. Thank you. I find it really exciting as a human being to be able to show up for something larger than myself, even though it scares me. And to find my voice and to be able to have a voice. And you guys are all so beautiful, and you all clearly do really important work. And it's an honor to be amongst you and to rub shoulders with you to remind all of us how important each of us are in this process. I loved what you said. I loved what everybody said. It's so funny. The red carpet thing is really fun. But this is so important to me. And using my celebrity in this way, to me, is what it's about. I remember back in 2007, when I was asked originally to campaign, I was so kind of freaked out. I didn't understand. I'm like, well, I don't know policy. Like, you know, I'm not a political person. I don't read the newspaper every day. I don't know I'm serious. You know, I don't know exactly how our government works. If it has the high school class or that electric company, you know, the bill goes to that, so, you know, that bill goes to Capitol Hill or whatever. School of rock, you know? I mean, like, I didn't learn much past that, you know, and I watch Rachel Maddow and I do my research, but I'm not a political person, and I didn't understand how what I had to say was in any way important, and I'm a celebrity and don't listen to me. And then I realized, I was like, you know what, if someone comes that wouldn't come to a voter registration because they want to see Joan from Girlfriends, and I get to redirect their attention to what's important, that's what it's all about. You know, and then I also realized, which was the most fun part of it for me, in talking to my friends and saying, like, I don't know what I have to say, and I'm not political. They were like, you are political. You care about your community. You care about your people around you and your fellows. You care about your country. You care about civil rights and human rights and women's rights. You care about people having health care and women's rights and reproductive rights, and you care about freedom and fairness. They were like, that's politics. That's what it is. Everybody being able to afford quality education, that's politics. And that was an education for me. I realized, you know, I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think I had a voice in this arena. And through the last election, I really discovered a strength and was empowered for myself in what I can do. You know, so that's why I'm here today. And that my nervousness is not going to hold me back from trying to do what I can, whatever that would be, to step outside of my comfort zone and speak up, you know, because there's too much at stake. Yeah. My best friend, who I cannot live without, that sweet woman. My best friend has 3 kids. They're all my godchildren. She has 3 jobs, and her husband are still struggling. It has been a tough couple of years. She has 3 jobs now because he couldn't get work. I mean, the Hollywood is not the same anymore. Our entire country has been affected by the economy. You know, there's no commercial actors anymore. Actors of certain rungs don't exist. And they have been struggling. And they have a support group around them. They have friends, they have family that support them. But and my godson is a special needs kid. And one of her 3 jobs she took is much less pay, but they have health care for her family. And I keep thinking to myself, as I listen to her on the phone crying, she's not trying to fail. She's trying to succeed. But it's hard. And one of those jobs, I think to myself, you can't support your family. You can't pay your rent on that job. Like, how is that possible? You know, she didn't have health care. She had to wait. Her son had a cavity. And she had to wait. You know, and like, that's insane to me. And then when she says, well, you know, some people, they don't get it, they grew up with money, and I'm like, I grew up with money. I get it. How can you not get it? Right. How can you not? I mean, you know, and to me, the American dream, my mother didn't grow up with money. My mother had a dream, and her mother told her she could have that dream. My aunt is a doctor. You know, they didn't grow up with money. My mom didn't go to college. I went to college. All of her children went to college. You know, and to me, the American dream is that I don't let the baton drop. I get to keep holding it and keep moving forward and go. And my mom always said, I want you to go from my shoulders. You know, I didn't work this hard for you to have to start where I started. You get to start here. You know, and that is the extension of the American dream. It's not just that everybody has to, it's keeping it, keeping that ball up in the air and keeping your voice alive and active. And so I think about my best friends, and I think about so many people that I know and so many people that I don't know. And I think, they need Obama. They need a president who gets it. Who understands. It's so weird, my contacts do not work today. I'm not kidding you. I'm like, really? Because either that or it's because I'm turning 40. I got it! Anyway, the president believes that my best friend and her husband should have jobs that allow them to take care of their families. Of their family, to send their kids to school, have health care, and even possibly put money aside for retirement. And that's not happening. From day one, Obama has been committed to the American people and creating long-term solutions for the crisis that he inherited. I want a president who understands what our country is going through, who listens and responds to the needs of the people, of our people, of my people, of me. I want a president who recognizes where people actually are in their lives and their circumstances and who's creating bridges for them to succeed. I want a president that I believe when he speaks. I believe him when he speaks. And I don't know, but I was taught to trust my gut and trust my instincts. When I hear the truth, my hair stands on end. And when I don't, I feel nauseous. And I believe him when he speaks. And that's so important to me. President Obama has faith in the decency and hard work of Americans. He knows that the only way to reclaim the sense of security that we've lost is to restore the basic values of balance and fairness. I want a president who sees a big picture and is willing to make tough decisions that are about what's right and not what's political. I want a president that doesn't play the us versus them political party mess that keeps us stuck and makes me want to turn off the television because I did all that in high school. You know, you just feel like, really? Because like, I think I walked away from that a long time ago. Do I have to watch more of that? The women's issues that are on the table in this election scare me.
Yeah, for sure.
Women clearly should have power over their own reproductive rights and the freedom to choose. And there are so many things that we rightly as women take for granted, like the right to affordable contraception, the right to mammograms and cancer scans, and equal pay, that it's shocking to me to think that this dialogue is even up for conversation. It just feels insane to me. And I was watching Boardwalk Empire last night, which is set in the 1920s. But I was sitting there watching this show and thinking, wait, this is the 1920s. Why are we discussing some of these issues in 2012? Like, how is that possible? Like, it's really insane to me. And I feel that I should have the power to choose how I want to care for my body, and I deserve to be empowered about my womanhood and to own and take responsibility for my womanhood, and that anything less than that is archaic. I do work with teen girls across this country, and I work with at-risk teen girls who are struggling to be heard. I'm always amazed. They have a voice, and they want to be heard, and they want to be seen beyond their circumstances. And I just keep thinking about how this dialogue about reproductive rights and Planned Parenthood and things of that nature are going to be interpreted for a teenager that already feels like they don't have choices, already feels like they don't have a voice. And our womanhood that these teens are emerging into is already such a delicate space that needs such care, and when we're talking in such a flip and disrespectful way about a woman's body, I just don't understand. And the truth is that the threat of Mitt Romney scares me. And I just feel that we are moving in the right direction. And if we do not take action, we could give rise to the most conservative anti-women regime that our country has ever seen. And I personally will not let my fear of speaking up and my fear of not knowing enough about politics let me stay at home and not do anything. I hear people say that they feel distant, which I understand, that this election doesn't touch them, but I say to people, please don't wait until it does touch you, because it will be too late, and it will touch you. I know that things haven't gone exactly as we had all imagined, but yet we all know in our own lives, like, one of the things I've learned as I'm close to 40 is everything takes a little longer than you think. It's not quite the way your fantasy mind puts it. Like, you know, when there's something going on in your life, you turn it over to God, and then there's some footwork that happens. And the footwork is always a little more complicated than you quite imagined, you know? But you keep going. You don't give up. I mean, I look at my best friend. She hasn't given up. She just keeps showing up and doing her best for her children and for her family. She goes to figure out another job. She will figure it out. You know, and that's what we all do in our lives. So why do we think in such a large way that it's just going to happen overnight? So we're moving in the right direction, and we got to keep going. And I know that people's daily struggles are real. But we can't let the disappointment and frustration hold us back. I also hear people say, well, Mitt Romney doesn't have a chance. And my response to that is, well, here's the thing. If you think that, then he actually does have a chance. And that's just not true. I also hear people say that their vote doesn't matter. And we just heard how much it does matter, and how each of us, it's not even just each of us, it's those that we get to reach out to. We all have our social media lists. I mean, we have tons of people that we can really work with. I remember the first time I voted, and I have been told that self-esteem comes from esteemable acts. Action is what makes you feel better. Feeling doesn't make you feel better. Action moves you into better feeling. And I remember the first time I voted, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I can do stuff. You know, it translates into your life. And there's some people that don't know that. They don't know the feeling, or they feel disenfranchised, and like it doesn't really make a difference. But I have come to realize that voting is a sign that I'm alive, a sign that I know I matter, a sign that I am awake, a sign that I know what's at stake, and that I am important. And that reverberates into your life. If you can do that for something bigger than yourself, it teaches you can do that in your own life. You matter. And that, to me, has been the most important thing about this process that I've learned. I loved what Representative John Lewis said at the DNC. Your vote is precious, almost sacred. It is the most powerful, nonviolent tool we have to create a more perfect union. To me, our vote is about the principle of creating conditions where we all matter, where we care for those who are more fragile, where we all deserve at least the conditions for success, so that we all have the opportunities to succeed. And so I'm here outside of my comfort zone to allow my voice to be heard one step further than just casting my vote. And I'm responding to that wonderful call of the First Lady for all of us to reach out. The other thing is, when people say, you know, I feel apathetic, or I feel like it doesn't matter, I say to them, that's your call. That means get up. Like however big the disappointment is, that's how much work you have to do outside of yourself. Like, that's where the change happens. And I just feel like we all must be awake right now, and create that same swell of empowered voices that we had 4 years ago. It worries me that that everyone's not talking about this. It worries me that everyone is not, when you say, are you registered, they're like, yeah. I mean, we were just on the campus, and I got someone registered, which is really exciting. He said, yeah, I'm registered, and they were like, are you in the same address? And he was like, no. We were like, then you're not registered.
All right.
And we got him filling out his form, and he's registered. Then we taught him how to register other people. And to me, that's what each of us has to do. So we heard the dates. We know what we were working with here. And I'm really grateful to be here. But each of us needs to listen to our call and get out to our communities. How many of you can reach, but really reach, and help them get registered? 5 people. All right, that's just 5. Okay, 10. I mean, everyone looked at me like this. 50. 50. Okay, you got 1 for 50. So what do you guys need? You obviously have your own communities, but it's more than just your friends, because your friends are probably registered. It's the people outside of your zone. Like, I wanted to stop on the way here at the bus stop, but she said that was inappropriate. Sandra was like, no, we can't stop at the bus stop. No, we cannot. So we have early voting here, which I think is extraordinary, and 13 more days to get registered, and then we just do the thing. Awesome. I like that. And then we just do the thing. We just do it. Just do it. That's the deal. Thank you so much.